Good evening and welcome to Motivational Monday. I'm Barbara Ellzey, your host. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. Stick around. We're going to be speaking to some Black, beautiful PhD sisters. Good evening and welcome again to Motivational Mondays. I'm so glad that you guys are here with us tonight. I'm just going to ask you to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook page as well as YouTube. Share it with your friends tonight. We've got some great information. I have two more amazing sisters. You know, I was thinking today that this is the century of women. We are doing some amazing things, and I am just so happy to know the women that are coming on this platform and women that are soon just going to come onto this platform. And so tonight, I want to introduce to you guys to some wonderful women. We're just going to jump right into it. Tonight, I have two wonderful guests that are, one already obtained her doctorate, and another is pursuing her PhD. You know, sometimes when we have a mind to do something, we just need a little extra push and a little inspiration to get us to where we need to be. So I thought, let's bring on some women who has actually gotten their PhDs and those who are pursuing their PhDs. So tonight, I want to introduce you all to my guests. I have with me Dr. Janet Benson, as well as Vinsche Gray is tonight. Woo! I'm excited. I'm excited about you guys. I am so glad that you all are here. Man, these women are tough. I've been reading y'all stuff, your bios. I've been going on your pages, and I just been looking at a lot of stuff because I want to be on top of my game when I'm talking to these PhD sisters. Look, I even put my corporate dress on. I did put my necklace on. Oh, I did. I usually have on flip-flops, honey. I got my heels on tonight because I was coming to the presence. I am so serious. I am so serious. But I'm so glad that you guys are here tonight. And I really admire what both of you all are doing and the things that you all are accomplishing. And, I thought about how at the church where we attend, the Apostolic Faith Church, there are so many incredible women there. And I just want to read this list to you all and stuff, because we know we have a dynamic pastor. We know that he's very highly, highly intelligent. We know that on Sundays. Sometimes he be talking some stuff. We be like, we don't know what he's talking about. We don't know what he's talking about, but okay, all right, because he's highly intelligent. But I thought about this. I thought about some women at the church, those who have already obtained their PhDs and those who are pursuing their PhDs. So I looked at the list of women that has already obtained their PhDs, like Dr. Lucy Willis. Then you have Dr. Ariel Akins. This young woman has a PhD in Spanish. I was like, now that's a tough sister. When you get a doctorate in Spanish, okay. And then you have Dr. Emily Green, who's doing her second year residency, in Milwaukee. And then our guest tonight, Dr. Janet Benson, got her doctorate in educational leadership. I'm gonna read some more of her bio, as well as Dr. Mika Battle. Dr. Mika Battle has her doctorate in organizational management and leadership. And then we have our PhD candidates. I call them candidates. And that's our guest tonight, Vinsche Gray, is studying for her PhD, as well as Rachel Horton is studying for her PhD. Then you got Minister Kelly Gage that's studying for her PhD. Karen Watkins, one of our praise singers, as well as Minister Sarita Jackson. I said, oh my God, Minister Geraldine Peacock is studying for her PhD, and Carissa Smith is studying for her PhD. And then also in the pandemic last year, Kay Robinson was given an honorary doctorate degree in the pandemic. And I just looked at that. I was like, wow, this is really some heavy stuff. But we come from good stock. We come from good leadership. So I just wanted to share all of these women. And then there's Dr. Curlin as well at the church who is actually a doctor. But all of these women you guys are doing extraordinary things. And so I just want to jump right in because I definitely want to know. I got some questions that I want to ask. But before I do that, Jan, I want to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing. And so Janet Benson has been an RN for 39 years. She has done 19 years at Rush and is currently a lead nurse at CPS for 21 years. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
She's a registered nurse, a travel consultant. She has her she has a bachelor in nursing. She has a double master's, one master's of science in health administration, as well as a master of education with administrative certificate, as well as her doctorate in educational leadership. And then we have this young woman, Miss Vinsche Gray, who I have known I remember when she was a little girl, used to go up to Gary and preach at her father's church and stuff. All of her sisters are college grads. I just want you all to know that all of them are tough enough. But Vinsche attends the University of San Diego. She's a second-year PhD student. She is the principal consultant at Great Solution. Is that right? Is that how you pronounce it? I saw that T on the end of Gray. Okay, at Great Solutions, LLC. Again, all three of her sisters are college grads, or probably double college grads. She has a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, a Bachelor's of Art in Sociology at Purdue. She got her Master's of Arts in Industrial Psychology. She got her MBA from Roosevelt. Now listen, she got these at the same time. And when they told me that, I was like, this girl is tough. She got both of her MBA and her Master's of Arts at the same time. And now she's pursuing her PhD in leadership studies, specialization in organizational consulting and coaching. My God, all I can say is congratulations, you all. You guys, man, what an inspiration. And so I had to bring you all on here so we can share with other women who may be thinking about pursuing their PhDs. I was like, all these people are pursuing PhDs. I know it's not easy. That I do know. It is not. No, it's not easy. I thought about T.D. Jakes one year. He said, because everybody was calling themselves doctors, right? What's up, doc? And so T.D. Jakes, he jokingly said, they must be throwing PhDs out the back window. I said, he is crazy. He said they must be throwing them out the back window. But I know that you ladies are studying. So I just want to jump right into it with you all. And I'm going to ask you both the same question. And so, Vinsche, I'm going to start with you. What inspired you to go forward in your education to pursue your PhD?
Well, I actually had the desire to pursue my PhD while I was in undergrad, but I was uncertain at the time in regards to what I would study. And if you know about the PhD process, it's all about making sure that you find a program that is a great fit for you. Mm-hmm. And initially, I desired to go straight through, but God had other plans for me where I had to pause, do my master's program, take another pause. And even after I completed my master's, I was somewhat unsure if I would continue on, because even a master's program is a lot, can be a lot. Even though experience is very rewarding, it still can be a lot. And so my family always jokes and they said, she probably won't get a PhD unless she can get two of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. God sent the desire a little over a year ago to apply, to reapply to a doctoral program, and I got accepted. And while I am not pursuing a dual PhD, I do have a dual specialization, so I feel like that's enough, right? Yeah. I would say it really is a desire that came from God. I know, like, the representation of minority women in PhD programs, the numbers are still low. I can tell you right now, in my cohort, I am the only person in my PhD cohort that is African American. Mm-hmm. And so that alone is encouraging is a reason why I wanted to do it, so that I can encourage others that it is possible to do it. So
It is possible.
mhm.
And Jan, I just don't know what to say about you. You're a travel consultant. You're nursing in two places, Rush and CPS. I mean, two strong infrastructures, two strong entities that you're doing these simultaneously. I want to ask you, why did you decide? Why did you decide to pursue your PhD? I mean, you're double mastered as well. You got.
Right.
Do you have two PhDs? I think you
No, I
double
just
mastered.
one.
You got one. Okay. I don't know about you guys. You got your bachelor's, and then you got your double master, and then now you went and got your doctorate in educational leadership, correct? And you got your certificate as well as administrator. What inspired you? Why did you decide to do that, to pursue your PhD?
Sure. Thanks, Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
So, having been in healthcare, on the front lines as an essential worker
Mm-hmm.
for almost 40 years, I've seen firsthand what health disparity looks like in our communities, and I came to the realization that it's not just about bedside nursing
Mm-hmm.
that's going to improve the outcomes for people in minority communities. The Black and Brown communities just don't get the services that they need. So, after having been a hands on nurse, I came to understand that what needs to happen is some policy changes. So, we have to start at the top. You know, we do what we do at the bedside, which is awesome and which is needed, but we also need to change policies.
Mm-hmm.
Having a doctorate degree gets me a seat at the table.
Oh,
That's what we need. There needs to
wow.
be more Black and Brown representation at the table where decisions are made. And I discovered it didn't matter how much nursing experience I had. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't matter if I was a good nurse or not. What mattered is my ability to step into the room where the power brokers are. You got to get
Wow.
there where people are making decisions
Yes.
that
Yes.
affect us.
Yes.
And so there needs to be more of us sitting at the table. And unfortunately, in this society, you almost have to have a title for anybody to even consider
Mm-hmm.
listening to what you have to say.
Exactly.
And so that was one of the greatest motivators for me was, doing what we need to do to help us.
Mm-hmm.
We're dying at higher rates. We
Mm-hmm.
are contracting illnesses at higher rates. Uh, the care we get is substandard,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just no excuse for that.
Okay.
So
And
that
and
motivated me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That motivated me.
That motivated you.
Mhm.
And Vinsche, yours is in organizational leadership and consultant. What is it that you're planning? And then I'm going to backtrack, but I just wanted to ask you, why did you decide to go into this particular field? And is it just as Jan said, so we can have a seat at the table for more minority women, to open doors, to create policies and things of that sort? Why did you decide to choose that field to go into?
Well, so my background, my master's was in industrial organizational
Mm-hmm.
psychology, which is the study of workplace behavior. So I am very passionate about workplace dynamics, and I am especially when it comes to its people. So I'm a very people person. You all know me from church. I love
Mhm.
people, but it's always been a concern to me when individuals are in workspaces, corporate, private sector, when they're in these environments that aren't conducive for them to thrive. And so what I desire and my plan to do research and engage in research is on the topic of looking at workplace succession as it pertains to African American women in the workplace.
Yes.
What type of mentorship coaching is in place for individuals to get to that level, and to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that we're not just waiting for another few years for someone to be appointed a CEO of a Fortune 500.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some major successes during this pandemic with Tammy Duckett and a few other individuals, but
Yeah.
we want to make sure that that there is room for more individuals, again, to have a seat at the table, but to also not just sit there, but to be in a position to make the decision, right?
Exactly.
One thing that I'm learning in this experience is that oftentimes research is really based off the view of European perspectives, and the way research is engaged is really based off European perspective. And sometimes it's not just enough for you as an outsider to study these individuals, but if you are part of the community and then you also try to utilize the lens from which those individuals speak, as well as think, then that is a really vital for the change that needs to be made when it comes to the policies, the procedures, and different things of that nature that impact the success of organizations.
Yes. And, they talk a lot about diversity and inclusion and what you're saying, the coaching and pretty much the professional development, instead of waiting for someone to become a CEO, and things of that sort. So what you're saying, that infrastructure inside, I worked in corporate downtown, and that is so true because, it's not many opportunities that people know that they can have because it's not in place, right? It's really just not in place in order for them to go further in their career. Connect as an example, not an example of that, but she works at PepsiCo, and she usually share with me, the dynamics of what goes on, in PepsiCo and things of that sort. So what you're saying is exactly what she'd be talking to me about all the time in terms of Black and brown at the table, and as well as becoming, moving up in certain companies and things of that sort. So let me ask you guys, I want to ask you about the process of the PhD, the process and those steps that you had to take. Jen, I think if I can remember, I think I remember, because you had to be interviewed. Is that correct? With your PhD, when you're entering the PhD program? Mm-hmm. I remember us talking about something, and it seemed like the time just went by so quick, though, for you to receive, your PhD. It's like we was talking about it, and you was like, I got to do this. And then next thing I know, they were saying Dr. Janet Benson. I was like, did they throw it out the window? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Uh-huh. I want to know what the process was for you guys after you made the decision that this is what you wanted to do. What was the process? Kind of walk us through that so the viewers can know.
So I'll be honest. I was apprehensive at first, and I wasn't going to do it. Mm-hmm. The school that I went to, I actually got my master's in education from this school. And when I graduated with that master's, and I'm getting some feedback, so I don't know if it's on my side or not. But anyway, they called me. I graduated in 2012, and they called me in 2013 to tell me that they had started a doctorate program. And they told me that they would give me a $10,000 grant to get into the program. Mm-hmm. And I was like, pretty much thanks, but no thanks. Because I was tired of school, and yeah, I wanted to do it, but no, I didn't want to do it. So then it so happened I was simultaneously working part-time at Rush, and I was talking to my unit leader, and she was telling me that you can get your retirement from Rush once you leave here. Mm-hmm. Once you reach a certain age, they'll just pay it out. Mm-hmm. So I called, checked out those details and stuff, and I said, "Oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind." The school called me again, and they guaranteed me that if I got into the program, they called me in 2014 and said if I got into the program by November of that year, even if it took me several years to finish, my tuition would remain the same. They would lock me into that tuition.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I say all of that it just proves that when God gives you a vision, He gives you provision.
He gives you provision. Exactly.
Okay. So I now had no excuse not to get that doctorate. Mm-hmm. So yes, I applied. Yes, I had to have a Zoom interview, mm-hmm. and they accepted me in the program. And that was in 2014. It took me 6 years to finish, but I finished.
Yeah. But you finished. But you finished. Yes, you did.
Yes, ma'am.
Vinsche, tell me about your process.
Okay. Really quick, I wanted to say I have said Tammy Duckett. I meant to say Cassandra Duckett, but my brain was processing as I was speaking. and I'm getting feedback for some reason. I know I'm not on, but better. So, but my process to apply and going through the process to apply was first, I actually started out by just looking for various job opportunities. And one of the first people that knew that I was applying was my nephew, actually, because he saw me looking at positions in San Diego, and I just so happened to come across the program. And so he's like, "Are you trying to move? Are you trying to move? Are you going to take my brother with you?" Because, for those of you who don't know, I have two nephews, and I help with my youngest nephew when he was born. So he's like, are you going to take your nephew with you? I'm like, no, we just going to see what happens. Needless to say, I applied. I got into the program. I just knew it was a great fit based off of the academic side of things. And so I knew that I didn't want to necessarily engage in heavy research. In the academia world, we use the term you want to be a pracademic, or because I have that practitioner way of completing and doing assignments, how my brain works. And so I knew that this program was a great fit because it had that model and that design where I could work and study. And so when I applied, STEM process, going through writing everything, but I think my biggest challenge wasn't necessarily getting into the program, but making the transition after I got accepted to relocate, which was a major decision because it occurred during the pandemic, right? And so it was literally a faith walk for me because I'm like, God, do you want me to move still? Do you want me to relocate? I can't look for any apartments. And the way my program is designed, it was designed for us to be on campus. And so I'm like, God, are you still with me in this journey? Do you want me to, pivot? Because I am learning as I mature in Christ that, when he says turn, you got to make that turn. And so while I was definitely married to the idea, I wasn't sure. And God just kept sending constant reminders just to keep pushing. And even to the point a few days before, like the door opening for me to have a place to stay and all those things. But I did not know that, of all of what I would experience from the time I got accepted to the time the program actually started. Which was really a true testament of faith. And I've shared it before with others, like my journey to relocate and to start this program was really all God, just believing him that this is the path that I'm supposed to take. Because like I said, when the desire comes, I would encourage others to pursue whatever God puts on your heart, because I had the desire years ago when I completed my undergraduate career, but life happened and different things of that nature. And so when God planted that desire again, or allowed that desire to start to spring forth again, should I say, I was like, there's no turning back. I have to do this.
Right. Something you said was very key, Vinsche. You said, when I married to the idea. And I think that once God present that vision to you and plant that in your spirit, right? And we all know, and Dr. Benson, you know this as well, that when God gives you that vision or put that and start nudging you to do that, you know it's him, because he's not going to stop nudging you, right? He's just not going to stop. And so something that you said, Vinsche, you said, when I married the idea, that's when the wheels really start turning, because you married the idea. It was like you said to God, okay, I'm going to do this. And that's so important when God is leading us to do something. We just have to say, we just have to give a yes, really. We really just have to say yes. And then the plan begins to unfold. Like with you, Dr. Benson, they gave you the money and say, your tuition is locked. It will not change. That's a God thing.
Yes, it is.
That's a God thing, And so that's so important. I love that you married the idea, and then God will say, okay, I'm going to take it from here. I'm going to show you what you got to do now. I'm going to make you comfortable and relocating to San Diego. I don't know how your mama let you go, because we try to keep our kids close, but but once you married that. And so, Dr. Benson, I wanted to ask you, and I heard about the funding. I heard of Vinsche, you spoke about you're the only African American in your group, because I was going to ask you all about the support that you get. What type of support do you get in pursuing? And Vinsche, with you being away from home, do you get strong support there at the university?
I will say, so because we were not on campus this past year because of the pandemic, initially the program is designed to be on campus, but everything was virtual. I will say that what's really kept me going in my program was the mentorship that I had.
Okay.
Where our university has, I actually was paired with another African American student who just did their defense this past week. And they encouraged me when I felt like maybe I wasn't grasping the concept the way I desired to, or maybe I felt my writing wasn't up to par. I also had some other individuals who I never met, but we just communicated via email, and it just so happened that they were always, God will allow them to check in on me as needed. One of the things that really inspired me and motivated me to keep pushing was the fact that I did have an instructor that looked like me my first semester as well as my second semester.
Okay.
And while my university isn't extremely diverse, I think that made a difference for me mentally, because I would say the other courses that I was taking, the professor's teaching style and the way it was designed, the way the course was designed was a bit different than what I prefer. But I will say that those individuals knew what to say to me. They knew how to challenge me, not baby me.
Right.
So I will say that is something that I needed, because there were times where imposter syndrome would sit in. And I felt like, where do I go? Who can I talk to? And those individuals I could confide in after class, or I could send an email or a text to. And so that was a huge support to me during that first year. And I look forward to that type of support as I move forward in my program.
Yes. I wanted to ask you that, especially with you away from home. But Dr. Benson, I want to ask you, because you've been an RN for 39 years. 19 years at Rush, 21 years at CPS. That's a whole nother animal, right? I work with CPS. You're married. You have ministry at the church with the health professionals. You are a travel consultant. When do you breathe? When do you breathe? When do you have time? And you're married to my friend Sydney.
Where's
the balance? Where do you find your balance? Where do you find that time where you can just, so important for us to just exhale, to breathe, to have that self-care, right? That's something that something I really implemented in my life during the pandemic, self-care. When I feel like taking off work, I do it. This is a self-care day, just to do nothing. So I want to know, you have so much going on, and how did you balance that in pursuing your PhD and doing everything that you are doing? How did you balance that?
Thanks, Barbara. That's an excellent question. You bring up a very, very essential point, because it is necessary to find that balance.
Right.
And we are under the teaching.
Oh, may I add? Let me add.
Ma'am. Yes,
may I add? I forgot. She's a rich girl's author.
Oh, yeah.
She's author. She's writing a book right now. She's a rich girl author. And you're on one of the teams, but you're too much given. Vinsche, much is required.
That's right.
And God would some way he will have us to accomplish everything he put in our hands. I don't know how he does it, but we accomplish it. How? Just tell me how. I just want to know how.
You know what? It's remember. Something that Bishop Smith says quite frequently, and that is, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
The main thing. That's right.
Okay. So while I was in school, it was incumbent upon me to understand what my priorities were.
Okay.
And when you've been on earth as long as I have, you learn how to quickly prioritize.
Right. Exactly.
So being in school, it became apparent that I needed to set aside a time that was just for school.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing could interrupt that short of an emergency.
Okay.
Okay. And I did talk with my family because when I started, my youngest son was still here. And, of course, I had my husband. So I talked to them and I told them what this journey was possibly going to look like. And yes, there were times where I could not participate in some activities,
Mm-hmm.
but they understood.
Okay.
My biggest supporter, I must say, is Mr. Benson. He was there from minute one. And he always said, "Don't worry, babe, you'll get through this."
Oh, wow.
And he would come behind, because I would be at this computer for hours. And he would come behind me and he would massage my shoulders, or he would bring me a cup of great sugar-free Kool-Aid.
Sugar-free Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that don't mean nothing to y'all, but it means a lot to me.
Oh, okay. Okay. We don't know Vinsche, but okay.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, and even the times when, because I had some rough moments, I remember taking a statistics class
Mm-hmm.
that really had me in tears.
Wow.
And I ended up having to call the professor, and he said to me, "Janet, walk away from the computer, take 30 minutes away, and then come back." But I'll tell you what was also one of the greatest supports for me, and that really was the Word of God.
Mm.
What I did was I would pick scriptures and I would put them on Post-its, and they would be on my wall and on my computer and on my mirror next to me, so that when I felt down or when I felt like this was overwhelming or that I might not finish, I would look at a scripture
Mm-hmm.
and it kept me going.
Wow.
And so once I actually finished, I went shopping. And I went to Hobby Lobby, and they have words that you can put on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in and I said, "God, show me what I can get."
Mm.
And sure enough, I found the words that said, "She believed she could, and
Yes.
so she did,
And so she did.
and so
Right.
she did."
Yep.
And so, I tell my children this
Wow.
all the time: if your mother at 57 could
Wow.
start a doctorate program
Mm-hmm.
and finish it at 63, don't tell me what you can't do.
Oh my.
You're in your 20s, you're in your 30s. Get back in school, get those degrees.
Wow.
If I can do it with a family, with a full-time job, in the choir, on the health ministry,
Professional.
all of that, you can do anything that God has put in front of you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I felt that, Jan.
Okay.
You started your doctorate at 57. A wife,
Yes.
children, grandchildren,
Yes.
and everything else that there's no excuse.
Right.
And that, you know what? That's why I wanted you guys on this platform. You're 57 and this baby, how old are you? 20, 19, 18?
Well, I am 30. I am 30 years
Are you 30?
Yes, I'm 30 years old. But I'll take 20. I'll take.
Okay. Yeah, because George will be 30 September the 1st.
Yeah,
you know what?
I'm 30 and I'll be turning another year. I'm still accepting the fact that I'm there, that I'm 30. But yeah.
Wow. But you know what? In church, you never let them grow up. They still little. So wow.
Yeah.
But just to see, there's no excuse. And I'm talking to the viewers. There's no excuse. You have a young lady here, 29, and you have 157 that says, I'm gonna go and get my doctorate. There is no excuse not to further your education. There's no excuse not to start your business, not to write that book. I have a girlfriend when you lady Jan and Vinsche, when I worked in at the Division of Child Support, I had a girlfriend who was just naturally funny. She didn't even try to be funny. She was just funny. She's just like Antoine Jordan. you know, and, and you know, somebody else is funny. Adrian Claxton is like that. They say stuff and you just fall at it. They be like, what you laughing at? But they funny. So she was funny. And she told me, she said, Bobby, she said, I always wanted to be a comedian. I said, do it. Go do it. My girlfriend, Deborah Warren, got up, started doing it. She's everywhere now. She's all in movies. She's all in LA. She's everywhere. And I think Debbie started in her 50s. She said, I always wanted to be a comedian. And that's what she does today. You know, so what I'm saying is that whatever it is that's in your heart that you want to do, the only person stopping you is you, right? You're the only person that's stopping you is you. You know, that procrastination. This is wonderful. What has been, Vinsche, what's been some of your challenges in this program? You're away from home. What's been some of your challenges? And are you coming back home?
So I don't know.
Oh, okay. Millennials, right?
That I don't know. But so one of the things that was a challenge for me during the pandemic was the fact that I was by myself, basically, because I come from a very tight knit family.
Yes.
But before I relocated, we had already implemented like Zoom and different things because my sisters don't all live in Indiana. We're all everywhere.
Scattered.
And so one of the things that has helped a lot was having that Zoom communication. But one of the biggest challenge for me during this time was more so what would happen what was going on back home while I was away, like the loss of loved ones and different things of that nature, because during those times you want to be near family.
Yes.
Even if we weren't able to congregate, it's just the thought that I'm not close enough for those type of moments. But I will say that God has blessed and kept me because I've actually have had to travel back and forth because of work and different things almost every single month. Except for like 1 month. So I was kind of like on overload from traveling. And hopefully my last trip will be coming soon. Hopefully I'll have a break next month. But I would say that was my biggest challenge and me overcoming my own self, my own fears. Sometimes I would get so trapped in writing a paper or trying to communicate my thought. And I have my peers here like, oh, you're great. You know everything. And I'm like, no, it's not where it needs to be. So overcoming that desire, not to be necessarily be perfect, but sometimes you're your own competition or your biggest, the person who's hard on yourself the most.
Your biggest critic.
So, my biggest critic, exactly. And so I just had to really overcome being my own biggest critic. So
what do you do? What do you do to just exhale? What do you do?
Pray. Okay. Like that is the first thing I would do. Like this into the first, I would say, even till now, one of the biggest things when I first moved into the place that I moved in is prayer. I come from a praying family. We pray frequently together. We implement a lot of prayer times throughout this pandemic. So praying, and then also to help my mind relax as I go for a walk. So thankfully I have beautiful scenery and I'm able to go walk. And then from time to time, I do have a few people that I knew prior to moving here, and they'll call and check on me and just say, how about you come out, for a moment or something like that. But honestly, prayer and communication with God, because this is a time where I know that God has called me to be to just be more in tune with him and listen to for his voice more. Even now I'm being challenged with the scripture, get wisdom, but in all that getting, get an understanding. And if you know anything about PhD philosophers are considered to be lovers of wisdom, right? But with that, just in a place of asking God for that understanding. Because while I can gain so much information and so much knowledge, right? It means nothing if I don't have the understanding that God will want me to have to apply it properly to help transform the lives of other individuals. So.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to shift a little bit right here. PhD beauties. That's what I'm going to call y'all. PhD beauties. Jan, you're a travel consultant. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want the viewers to know that. And you're also an author. But I want them to know that you are a travel consultant. Speak to us about that so they can know. Listen, you all, if you need a travel consultant, you want to go somewhere, Jan is the person. Kelly Gage is on here. Kelly, guess what? I'm not punching any buttons. That's that's a joke between us. And also, she said, "Go." She said, "Yes, Vinsche." And Jan Utopia is on here talking. That grape Kool-Aid tastes good. So I don't know about no sugarless grape Kool-Aid or whatever that is, but whatever floats your boat. But I want you to talk to us about your travel business.
Okay. All right.
About that. Okay.
So I've actually been in the travel industry. That's been over 30 years as well. And I got into it because I like to travel. And a friend of my father's that he was in the military with, he and his wife actually had a brick and mortar travel agency.
Okay.
So he started teaching me the business. And so I learned what I needed to learn. And so I started booking travel for a while. And I stayed with them for several years, even while doing my nursing. And then they had some unfortunate health events in the family, and they eventually had to shut the business down. So I was actually able a few years ago to get with a parent company called Cruises International. But my business is called Destinations Paradise.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, yes. So I can book anything and everything that you'd like to do. I specialize in group travel. I specialize in cruises,
girls trip. Yes.
Yes. I have a very large faith-based contingent that I service. Yes. I've done groups for ministers and just people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I am that person that you make a phone call, one phone call, and I take care of everything for you. So wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, let me know and I'll do it. I do have a girls trip. Yes, Dawn, I can do that for you.
Yeah.
So my motto is the answer is yes. Now, what's the question?
Okay. Well, I tell you this, Jan. Please, where can they contact you?
So they can look at my Facebook page, which is Dr. Janet Benson. If you want to send me a friend request, that's where you'll find me. You can also find me at J Benson vacationslandandSea.com. That's my email. jbenson at vacationslandandSea.com.
All right, you all get your girlfriends together. You know, in October, I'm reaching a milestone. So I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm taking me a whole week and a half. I got to go somewhere. Thank you so much. He put it up there. Thank you so much. And also,
thank you, Mr. Joe. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Barbara. Put an S after vacation.
After vacations.
Yep, vacations.
Vacations. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right. Go right ahead, Barbara.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
And Vinsche, you have a company as well, the principal consultant at Grayt, Grayt Solutions. You got an LLC. I'm so proud of you. You're young and you're really doing it. You know what I love about you guys, and so many of you all are doing wonderful things, you know, at the church. But what I love about you all, you guys are laser focused. Haven't you noticed that about them, Jan? They are laser focused on what it is that they want to do, and they get it done.
Yep.
They get it done. When George came home from Bolden, funny story, I asked him what it was that he wanted to do. He said, "I'm not going to work." Okay. So help me help you.
Right.
How can I help you?
Right, because your next question was where you gonna live.
So he said, "You know what, Mom?" First he started off, he said, "I want to be an actor." So I said, "Okay, let me see some movement." He did that. And then he said, "You know what? I'm going to be a film director." and this guy is doing his thing. I'm inspired by his focus,
Yes.
So Vinsche, tell me about the principal consultant at Great Solution LLC. What services do you offer? What is that?
Okay, so Great Solutions actually came about for me, my journey to entrepreneurship. Basically, I started off being an independent contractor for some organizations, developing policies and procedures, doing facilitating various development trainings. And so that I did that for so long, but then I was on the fence because I was never that person that was like, I want to own my own business. I was more so like, I want to be the CEO of somebody else's company, right?
Right.
But God had really challenged me, and from just the type of people that I'm connected to, from people at church to my family, I have a very small circle of people that like really push me, and they're like, Vinsche, you are doing this already. Like, this is already what you're doing. Like, you are great at it. And so the name Great Solution, my mom always referred to us as a family. She always says, have a great day. And so I have to give her credit. Otherwise, she's going to take me to court. She's already mad that I used it for, my company. But it really was birthed to help organizations focus on helping propel them forward as it pertains to their people. So what processes, what policies, what procedures are in place. But what I really love and enjoy doing the most outside of being behind the computer and typing up and fixing things and making those things great for organizations is I love being amongst the organization's people, doing staff advances, company retreats. And so that's what I love and enjoy. So I love the professional development of side of things, seeing my leaders in the organization becoming more trusting of their employees, and also them challenging their employees to grow, because sometimes organizations, they don't want to see their people grow. They want them to remain the same.
That's right.
Just make sure you fit our agenda. But what I love the most about doing my consulting work is that I get to connect with people. And I know that's where God has called me to. I always knew I had the gift of helps. Coming from a family in the church, I plan conferences, retreats, and different things of that nature, and I thrive in those environments. And so it just it transformed into business, and God has sustained me in it during this time, and I'm thankful for that.
Well, congratulations on your business. You said something that is so key, Vinsche, is that sometimes you in companies that they don't want to actually see you grow. I am when I was in management downtown, one of the things that I learned was to strengthen the strengths of my employees, right? I wanted to find out what their strengths were and what their weakness were. So what I did was I set all of my staff down and began to ask them, now, what is it that you do? And what is it that you do? And I streamlined their responsibilities to their strengths. And so, sometimes we can be inundated with so much that you really don't know what your people can do. And so once I did that, I streamlined and played to their strengths, they began to produce more. So you have to find out. And I think that in companies, they don't really look or take time to really investigate what their employees' strengths are. Where I work in an educational institution, right? And so we work inside of schools. But my thing is I can raise money. And I know I can raise money, and that's just something God has given me to do, that I, can raise money. I have community resources, there's some people that I can call that's on my speed dial. So you got to learn how to say, okay, you do this and you do that. And guess what? It'd be like a well-oiled machine that's moving forward. And I think a lot of times the companies, they don't really take time to learn that of each of their employees, what is their strength, you know, and that will make the company so much successful. So I really like that you put that together, to even bring that to the companies, to take a look at your employees, sit down and have a one-on-one with them. What do they like doing? Because when you find out what they like doing, they will be successful in that. And also another thing, I like what TD Jake said. TD Jake said he loves when he bring his people together, right? His staff, his thinkers. He bring them together. He said, and sometimes they go at it. They'll go at it. He said, but he'll sit back, because he said what's actually is happening, they are taking ownership of this company, right? So it's not like an actual argument that's going on. You hear what I'm saying, Jan? It's not an actual argument that's going on, but they passionate. So he said he sits back and he watches his people, and he said, oh, okay, they have taken ownership of what it is that I'm trying to do, you know? So that's another thing, that when you're in positions like that, you have to take a look at that. And then your people in turn will grow. I have enjoyed you guys so much. I just, you know, this has been wonderful. I want to ask both of you all, what is it that you would say, or how would you inspire a woman that is viewing right now that really wants to take that step? I really believe that we do. Sometimes we have to walk alongside people. And you know, you mentioned that you had a mentor, Vinsche, and Jan, you are a mentor, you know, to different women and things. Just what you have done has placed mentorship on you, both of you guys. You know how Charles Barkley said, I don't want to be no example to nobody. You're that, because you stepped into those big shoes. So automatically you become that, right, to someone else, because they start saying, if she can do it at 57. And I got a comment that I saw from Valerie from church, and she was just saying, I'm 57, I be having brain fog. You know, Jan, talk to us about brain fog, because honey, I get up from this computer and I say I'm finna go in my room, and then I get that, say, what am I doing in here?
Yes, Lord.
I go into my room and say, what am I doing?
Right,
what am I looking for?
Oh yeah, listen, I had those moments too, and I still have them. Okay, at 63, I still have them. But you know what? When you put your mind to it, you know, you can get it done. And I'll be honest too, I do some things every day to help keep my mind sharp. I hear you, Valerie. I hear you. Been there, done that. Okay, and still doing that. Okay, but a couple of things that I do. I play word games and I play chess. Okay? When you play chess, you have to strategize. So chess makes you think. The word games make you think.
It makes you think.
So yeah. So whatever you need to do, you know, we've all heard, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So what do you need to do to keep your brain functioning? Okay. And that's what you need to do. And for each one of us, that's going to be different. You know I see these commercials about the medication that people take. Yes. And I'm not pro or con. That's a conversation you have with your own healthcare provider. Okay. But I have found that when I play the word games, the word search games, you're right. And I play chess, it keeps me sharp. It keeps me on top of my game.
Wow. So there's some things that we have to find to keep us sharp. One of the things that I'm a reader. I have always been a reader, but over the years I had stopped reading, raising children. And so now I'm intentionally reading, I carved that time out to read. And that keeps me going and things of that sort. And so that's one of my go-tos, but I do like word search too. I think I'm going to have to, because we used to do that when we was younger, play word search all the time. We didn't know we was building up our vocabulary. We were just doing it, And so I like that to do something to keep your brain going, them synapses. Isn't it the synapses in there that popping us? I'd be needing mine's popping, because I'm telling you.
I know, Barbara, I know. You know what? I can call somebody on the phone and listen while the phone is ringing. I'll go, oh my God, who am I calling? I know. That's just the joy of age.
What about this one, Jan? See, Vinsche, she don't know nothing about this. She like,
I do. I have my moments.
you have your moments.
I have my moments.
What about being on the phone and looking for your phone? Hello. George was just saying, what you looking for? I said my phone. He said, you on it.
Now look, I'm gonna show you one better. Look, you see where my glasses are? Where did I put my glasses? Where are my glasses? I tear the house up. And Cindy will look at me and go, you know what? You are getting old. Go to the mirror. You got to be able to laugh at yourself.
I tell you, my poor son, he'll just go in his room and close the door. I'd be like, yeah, girl, it's so and so. He'd be like, Mom, what you looking for? My phone, where is it? You talking on it. Help me, Jesus. Help, Lord. Help. Just help me, Lord. Vinsche, what would you say to inspire? I am so enjoying you guys. This is cracking me up. Vinsche, what would you say to, we have a lot of young ladies your age that is watching, and all ages really tonight is watching, but what would you say to inspire them to continue their education?
I would say anything is possible. I was in a challenge when I was in high school called Impossible is Possible. So know that it is possible no matter what your age is. Surprisingly, in my program, I'm one of few young people in my program. Most of the people in my program are married with kids, grandkids, and all those different things, retired. And so I will say, like, anything is possible. But the most important thing is that anything is possible with God, right? So if God is calling you to this, and if you know that He has given you the vision, and He has shown you in school, go back. Even if you know, like, I don't even have my bachelor's degree, but I know God wants me to get my PhD. Well, you have to start right now. Start from there. Start from that position, and God is going to get you to that point. Because again, you'll still be breaking through barriers. You'll still be overcoming whatever the statistics are. And so you will be able to do it. But again, anything is possible with God. So if God is calling you to this journey, join the journey. It is a journey. As I'm being reminded, it's a journey, not to be rushed, but a journey to learn, to be transformed. Because this is another way that God can stretch you, another way He can grow you and develop you into who He sees you as.
You know what? And we never know what we can do until we do it. We don't know how far we can stretch until we really take, those big steps. We talk about, we sang about Jabez, and stuff, and how we said that about him, and enlarge my territory. When you step into big shoes, you're really being enlarged and stretched, and and layers are coming off. Because I know, Dr. Benson, coming through your program, your doctorate, I know you're not the same woman you were when you first went in. I know you're not, because God has stretched you in so many ways that you're not that same woman. What's the difference? What difference do you see in yourself now?
Well, for one, I've learned to be a lot more open-minded, a lot less critical, a lot more tolerant and accepting. And I'm just so ready to do something for someone else, and it has opened my eyes in so many ways, because, you have to do original research, and it was a challenge. It was a challenge. And the fact that the Lord kept putting people in my path along the way to help me. Once I finished, it was incumbent upon me to help somebody else.
Right.
So, I truly have become a lot more patient and just open-minded. And what can I do next?
I think about Bishop Smith as a perfect example You know, he's a pastor, he's a professor, and he's a physician. You know, that's tough enough right there. And he was a presider. So everything that he does is top of his game, right? But one thing, what drew me to Bishop Smith 27 years ago to the Apostolic Faith Church is that he's a genius, number one. He is definitely a genius. And whatever he does it with a spirit of excellence. But he always have kept at the forefront that it doesn't mean anything, right? If you're not willing to do something for someone else, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And you know what I'm learning as I get older and in this walk, that everything that God does for you is really not for you.
Nope.
It's not for you. You're really a conduit. Everything that you're doing is passing through you for someone else out here. The knowledge that you're receiving, you know, this is for someone else, to make someone else's life better. I got that now. I have that understanding, you know, that even working on my job, it's just my eyes has opened to a lot of things. And that's why I wanted to ask you that question, that I know you're not the same person. You know, when you started 6 years later, you're not that same woman anymore.
Right.
There's a conversion that has happened. There's a stretching that has happened. There's a shedding that has happened to you. And that's what God wants. And guess what? He's gonna put something else. He's gonna have you to do something else. You know, and I'm so glad to see Kelly's name come across the screen, because she's a PhD student as well. When God is doing something in your life, and he's doing it, and as you said earlier, Vinsche, when God began to nudge you and then you married to what he was trying to get you to do, there's some squeezing in there, you know. And I know there has been times that you all have said, you know, wait, I done stepped over into something. I don't know about this, because God is squeezing us, you know, to get the best out of us. And there's going to be some more squeezing that God is going to do in you. You don't know where you're going after this. And my next question to you guys is, what's next? Right? Because there's a next. I was talking to Jermaine earlier, and he called me, and I'm gonna let you all in on a conversation. He said to me, I really don't like you. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You know, I'm sitting on my balcony meditating, you know, reading. He said, I don't like you. I don't like you. Because I spoke something to him yesterday. He said, I thought about it all night long. He said, now I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I said, well, that's why he told me he didn't like me. I'm sick of you telling me stuff. And then, you know, and so he's getting ready to do something else. But that's what God does. When you step out and do one thing, he's going to start piling on and some more. So we don't know where we're going. But I just want to ask you ladies, what's next? What's next, Vinsche?
Well,
should I say, Dr. Gray? What's going to be next, Dr. Gray? I put my clothes on and stuff. You know what I'm saying, honey?
Yeah. Well, you all will learn that in the PhD world, everybody is just very lax, and actually, you start to lose all that need for like that extra stuff and just be who God called you to be in those spaces. But I will say, what is next in the now is preparing for this next year, and also preparing in terms of how I am going to engage in research in terms of how I'm planning to conduct my study, because I want to start, you know, now getting ready before the time even comes for me to start proposing, which I know, you know, it takes time to do that. And so I want to make sure that I've planned things out properly so that I can execute the way I need to execute, so that I don't want to be here longer than what I have to.
Okay.
But also, in addition to that, it's funny you say do whatever God is calling you to do. And one of the things that God told me to do before I moved is he said, do it all, right? So do the business, do school, do whatever I called you to do. You can do it all. Not saying to do every and anything, because he didn't call me to every and anything, but to do all that he has called me to do. And so that's continue to build my business, and then also, you know, focus in excellence with school, and then start to make an impact in the new community that I live and reside in. So, and build my community here as well.
So when is your anticipated graduation date or year?
Well, no, well, it would be 2024 based off the timeline of coursework and me proposing and then conducting my research and then defending. So, Lord willing, I will be able to meet that goal.
You're gonna meet it.
Yes.
You're gonna meet it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I really am. Dr. Benson, what's next?
So let me say this, Vinsche, reach out to me if you need some help when you're trying to decide what kind of research you want to do. Reach out.
Definitely.
Yeah, reach out because that's quite a process.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, but it is doable. And Minister Ellzey, right now I'm focused on two things, and that is writing more. Okay. And I'm mentoring, so I'm mentoring young women. We really have got to help these young women.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Too many of our young women are accepting the unacceptable.
Yes.
And we have to mentor them.
Yeah.
We also need to mentor the young men.
Yes.
And so those things that God puts in front of me to do, and they all line up with kingdom building.
Yes, it does. It all points back to kingdom building. Yes, it does. And you're so right with that, Dr. Benson, because you know what? We as African Americans have lowballed ourselves, right? That's something I was talking to Brother Jermaine about this morning. We have lowballed ourselves, and I was telling him, and as far as because he's doing a great work with the young men and men in the city of Chicago, and now he's getting ready to take on another task. But what I shared with him was, if you can get the men together, the wife will follow, and guess what? And the wife will make the children follow.
Yep.
And then you get the family together. The family will start getting the community together. Yep. But you got to get him first. If you get him, you got her, and the kid's gonna come, yep. And then the community is gonna be built up. And so you're so right. There's so much mentoring that has to be done because we have lowball. And Bishop Smith preach about this all the time. Who told you you can't do algebra? Who told you that? Who told you you can't do chemistry? You can do it, And so we do have to. It's a process of building people up for them to know that they can do it. And then have someone to walk alongside, with them. Last week I had a woman on here who had been sex trafficked from the age of 7 to 11, right? And she was saying that when she finally broke out of that, she was working somewhere, but she was going to school, I believe, to get a GED. And she was illiterate, right? She stood in the mirror and taught herself how to read. But she went to school and she was taking, I think, an algebra class. And she said this man from the street came in, a homeless man, and saw her book and said, "Can I see your book?" She said, "Yes." So he sat there and started working the problems, right? And so she just took the paper, folded up, and put it back in her book. So when she went to class, she pulled the paper out, and the professor was doing it the same way that this man had figured him out as well. Well, it come to find out, he used to be a math professor at Virginia Tech College. Wow. So you don't know who people are, right? Mm-hmm. And she was like, wow. And he began to share his story, what happened to him and things like that. But again, we have to build people up. We don't know. We don't know where they came from. We don't know. We just don't know. Mm-hmm. And so we may not can reach everybody, but we can reach somebody.
Right.
We can reach somebody. Listen, I have enjoyed you all. This has been great. This has been so good. A great discussion, and so many comments has been coming through, and people been laughing tonight, and I love to laugh. You know that, Jen. I my kids always tell me, "Don't embarrass me," because I like to laugh and stuff. But I'm so happy that we was able to make you guys laugh tonight, as well as give you some really, really, really good information, as well as bring some women before us that looks like us, that did it. And Jan, 57? Okay. Come on now. 57 to start to become a PhD student, that speaks volumes to all of us. And then Shay, you're 29 and going, and you get all of these degrees. Who gets an MBA and a Master of Arts at the same time? Who does that?
This is the way God designed it. God designed it that way. My family knows. He designed it that way. When I looked at it, I said, "Oh, Jesus! Like, how is this possible?" And actually graduated ahead of what was desired. So technically, I should have took a little bit longer. But I'm once God gave me some, like, let's execute. And so yeah, but that was all God. But yeah,
I know. I saw her standing there with two, an MBA and a master from Roosevelt. I graduated from Roosevelt. I was like, wait, what? But when God gives you something, if God gives you the vision, Jan, as you said, he's going to give you the provision. He's going to give you everything you need to make it happen. There's nothing impossible with God. Ladies, I have enjoyed you all tonight. I thank you all so very much. Listen, ladies that are viewing, please share this broadcast. Share it out so everyone can get a chance to see this, as well as we're going to have Dr. Benson travel information up on my page. So if you need a travel consultant, an agent, somebody if you just want to get away with your friends, your son graduated from there. Yes, I'm from Roosevelt and Vinsche is from Roosevelt. But if you just want to get away, make sure you contact Dr. Janet Benson. We're going to have the information up. So thank you all so much. I'm so happy that you guys joined us tonight. Dr. Benson, Dr. Gray, what can I say? I just had a blast with you all tonight. I really did. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much. Don't go away, because I want to talk to you all some more backstage. Listen, this is Motivational Monday. I thank you all so much for being here and enjoying us again. I appreciate you all so very much for taking out time in your evening to be with me. I love my sisters. And and one thing, there's no, here's the thing. Let me just throw this in. It's not competition. It's collaboration, right? There's no need of us to be jealous of anything that any one of us have, because whatever, the gift that we have, God is going to bring it out. Your gift will make room for you. You don't have to get upset about anything. You have to get jealous about anything. God knows what he wants to do in your life. Just like Vinsche said, you have to marry. You have to say yes to what God is saying to you. And God is speaking to all of us to do some things. We just got to say yes and be obedient to the Lord. Listen, learn to walk in the place of obedience. Obedience to God will advance your life. I love you. I'm so glad that you're here. I had a blast tonight. They had me cracking up. I know all about the brain fog, honey. I'm still trying to find some stuff I hear from myself. I ain't think about none of y'all. Don't judge me. I'll find it one day. I love you so much. Have a good evening.